All right. Hello, my name is Stormy Benzie, and today we have Jaden with me, and we are doing lesson 2 for my readings, methods, and strategies 382 class. And today's date is 6/27/2022. All right, so we are going to get started with this lesson. So today we are going to be going over a book that I have chose for us. We are going to go over it or do the picture walk again. We're going to be doing an anticipatory set, which is where we talk about statements. We did that last time. Do you remember how we did the agree and I disagree? So we're going to do that again. So before we read the book, and then I will read the book to you, and then I'll give you some time to look at the book by yourself, just to kind of flip through the pages and look at it. And then you'll answer some questions, and you're going to be asking a question at the end. So this book is called Without You. So we're just going to go through the pictures right now. Could you guess, I'll ask once, going through the pictures, what this book might be about?
Penguins?
Yeah, penguins. So this book is about penguins, and specifically it's about penguins' eggs and how they take care of them. So, and then what happens when they hatch. So this is what this story is about. Like I said, we're just looking at pictures. Like I said, it's about penguins and their babies and where they live and what happens. So I'm just letting you look at these pictures. I know we're going through it pretty quickly, but you'll have plenty of time to look at it because we're going to read it, or I'm going to read it to you, and then you're going to have a chance to look at it, like I said, by yourself. Just go through the pages and help you remember things. So, all right. So after like I said, we went on the picture walk, and like I said, I have this anticipatory set for you, and we'll start off with that. So I'm going to do the first one like I did last time just to kind of model it just to refresh you to remember how we did it. So the first question, or not, it's not a question, it's a statement. The first statement on the participatory set is, actually, I'm going to do the last one. I changed my mind. I'm going to do this one down here. It's called Penguins Live Alone. And so then I just have to sit and think, do I think penguins live by themselves, or do they live with a big group of other penguins? And I think they live with a big group of other penguins. So I'm going to put disagree because I think that they don't live alone. So now that I've done that first one, and I'll have you do the other ones, and I'll start with this top one up here. So I'm going to go through the statements, and like I said, last time, there are no right or wrong answers. This is not about you knowing for sure. This is just about what do you think before we actually read the story and learn about it. So the first statement that I have for you is, Papa penguins stay with the eggs. So when eggs are still eggs, do you think the mama stays with them or the papa? I said the papa penguins stay with the eggs. Do you agree or disagree? What do you think? It's like I said, there's nothing right or wrong. It's just what you think, just from what you know, just about other animals. It says the papa penguins stay with the eggs. Oh, it's up here. You start at the top. So, all right. So, okay, then the next one. Where penguins live, they have day and night. So, like how it gets light out and dark out here. I was like, do you think that where penguins live, it gets light out and dark out there? So, do you agree or disagree? So then you'll put agree or disagree.
Second?
Yep. We're just going down in order. All right. So the next statement is, penguins can recognize each other's voices. So do you think that's an agree or a disagree? Do you think when penguins make like noises that they can tell when it's specific penguins, or do you think they think all penguins sound the same? So it's agree or disagree. All right. And then one more. It is warm where penguins live. Agree or disagree? Just what do you think? Do you think penguins live where it's really warm or really cold?
Really cool.
So if the statement is it's warm where penguins live, would you say you agree or disagree? Oh,
I keep on dropping it.
you gotta be careful. Hold on to it. All right. So Perfect. You have got that done. So,
There's only one.
right, there's only one that you agreed with. That's all right. And we're going to read this book and see what we can learn because every single one of those statements we're going to learn about in this book now. So, like I said, you did the anticipatory set, so now we are going to read.
This is for after the book.
Yep, that's for after the book to see if any of if we learned or if our thoughts are different. So, this book that I've picked today is called Without You. Yeah, I have a bad bruise by Sarah Weeks. Without You. All right, and so I'm going to read this beginning little part. There's not much for pictures, so it says, when a female emperor penguin lays her egg, she passes it straight to her mate, who puts it on a pouch who puts it in a pouch just above his feet. Unlike most birds, she doesn't stay to help protect her young. Instead, she goes out to sea to feed, leaving the male alone with the egg for 2 months in the freezing Antarctic winter. Antarctic, I can't speak today. Antarctic winter. During that time, the temperature drops far below zero, and the penguins live in total darkness. The males, each with an egg balanced carefully on his feet, live only off their stored body fat. Huddled together for warmth, the vigilant emperors constantly move and shift on the ice so that each bird gets his share of protected time in the warmer inner circle and as well on the chilly perimeter, serving as a wind barrier for others. So they kind of all stand in a circle and they rotate. Like some get to stay in the middle for a little bit and then they move to the outside. So everyone has, so that all the penguins have a chance to be in the middle warm and on the outside. In the total darkness, the only way that birds recognize each other is by their voices. So they call to their mates as loudly as they can. When the pairs have reunited, the father gently transfers the precious chicks to the mother's feet and then goes off to sea to feed. All right, so that was everything we're going to learn in the book, but all at once. So now we're going to finish reading the book because that was just a little intro. So it says, she'll come back to you and me soon. You'll see. Because you know how it said, the mamas actually lay the eggs and then they leave. They leave the eggs with the dads.
That's easy to read.
Well, yeah, that's why when I'm done reading and after we go through this, you're going to have some time to go through the story again by yourself before I ask you some questions, to look at pictures and just help you think of anything. But like I said, remember, I want you to ask me a question about this. So something about this book that you have, not yet, but later. I just want you to remember so you can be thinking about it. It says, she'll come back to you and me soon. You'll see. No, I can't read today. I'm sorry. No sun is shining down on us. It is black as pitch all day. So it means there's no sun.
Not today.
It says up in the Antarctic, it stays dark for half the year and light for half the year. That means it never gets dark out for 6 months. It will stay light out the whole time, and then it never gets light out for 6 months. It stays dark the whole time. It's just because the way the globe is shaped, it's a circle, and they're right on the top. So it's just how it works. You'll learn more about it as you get older. It says, I feel a little funny inside. My mama's far away. See, because this story's being told by the egg. Nothing but sea ice for miles around. You close your eyes to the blinding sleet, but here I am, as warm as toast, balancing on your feet.
I see the egg.
Yeah, and the daddy, because the daddy keeps him on his feet in a little pouch and keeps them warm until they hatch. Now, where would I be? What would I do? Who in the world would see me through? Where would I be? What would I do without you?
That's on the front cover.
We huddled together in the inner circle. See how I told you sometimes they are in a circle and sometimes some are on the inside and some on the outside? We serve our time on the outside too. Brave the blizzards and the sad times. While Mama dives in the deep sea blue. See, why the dad and the baby are trying to stay warm and staying alive. The mom is out eating.
I see a fish.
Mm-hmm.
There's a circle.
Right? Nothing but sea ice for miles around. You duck your head when the cold winds blow. But here I sit, safe and sound, balancing on your toes. Where would I be? What would I do? Who in the world would see me through? Where would I be? What would I do without you? I know that she's somewhere out there without us, but I've got to believe that she's thinking about us. She'll come back to you and me soon. You'll see. No matter what, you've got to stay awake now. Don't let your eyes close. When Mama calls, you've I'm sorry. When Mama calls, you've got to answer for me. Yours is the only voice she knows. So like I said, this is the baby telling the story. So he's telling his dad, you better stay awake because penguins can recognize each other's voices. And so when the moms come back, because it's dark out, they yell out for the dad, and then the dad yells out, and they recognize the voice, and they go find him. Where would I be? What would I do? Who in the world would see me through? Where would I be? What would I do without you?
There's wood.
Mm-hmm. This is world and wood. They're really close, but see how that has an R and that has a U? It makes them a little different. See, look at the mama and the dad are back together with the baby. And the end. Did I skip a page? No? Okay. So, yeah, and then just this little circle, and it says, this loving memory of my father. She made this book for her dad. He must have really liked penguins. All right. So, now that we have read this book, before we go on to this, do you have any questions? Anything that you can think of? Is there anything about this book that just doesn't make sense to you and you want to know why? No, that's all right. I was like, but we've got to make sure that we're thinking of a question because that's part of what you got to do at the end is you got to come up with a question. That's how I know if you were paying good attention. I'm going to ask you questions and then you're going to ask me one question. And it's just about penguins, so it can be anything, just something that you still wonder. And I might not have the answer, but we want you to come up with questions because part of, learning and reading about stuff is having questions yourself. You can't, if you need to, because if you want to learn about something, you can be asked questions about it, but, most of the time you have questions that you need to ask as well. So now that we have read the book, what you would do is if we were in a class, you would now get together with a partner and go over this again. But since it's just me and you, I'm just going to be your partner. And so we are going to go over this anticipatory set again. And I'm just going to read the same statements. And you are going to tell me whether you agree or disagree based off what we learned. Because we've read the story and so things are a little different now. So we're going to just start with the first one. Say, Papa penguins stay with the eggs. So do we agree with that or disagree? So what do we think we learned in the book? Do you remember what the book said? No, I'm like, I don't want to have to read the book again. If you were supposed to, the whole book was about it. If you were paying attention, who was with the egg the whole time? When he was still,
Dad.
yeah, exactly. So agreed. Papa penguins stay with the eggs. Do you think you agree or disagree? Good job. All right. So yeah, so like I said, if you were with a partner, you guys would be talking about this and asking each other questions. So then, where penguins live, they have day and night. So do we remember what it said? We kind of talked about it. Do you remember why I said when the mama comes back they have to call out? Because they can't find each other because why?
I don't know.
I said it. I don't want to have to read the book again because it's dark. Remember, I told you that they lived 6 months of darkness and 6 months of just light. So what do you think? Penguins live where it's day and night. So does it have day and night all the time like we do here? So what do you think? Is that an agree or a disagree? So what do you think? Tell me. Say it like, tell me like when you click it, don't, or when you click it, when you write it, don't just write it. Tell me so I can, my teacher can hear what you wrote. Did you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree. Yep. Make sure you're saying it loud so she can hear you, because if we don't say it loud enough, then the computer won't pick up your voice. All right. So next one. Penguins can recognize each other's voices. What do we think? Is that an agree or a disagree?
I think disagree.
Is that well? But remember what did the book say? I just said it, talking about the last question. That what do they do in the darkness so they can find each other? I just said it. What is the mom comes on shore and what does she do to help to find her dad? I was like, I just said it with the last one. She yells out. Yeah. I might have to pause this so we can read this again because you obviously don't remember and we can't, if you don't know what's going on, then we can't even do the questions. So I'm going to pause this and we're going to read the story again. So yeah, if you would have been with a pair, you guys would have just went through the book together to figure it out. So we're just going to keep going where we were so we were on the third one. So the third one was penguins can recognize each other's voices. So what do you think? Agree or disagree? Like I just read and we talked about it when it
Agree.
Okay, I was like, when it's dark, how do they find each other? Do you remember what I said about how they find each other?
They call for them?
Yep, they call out. Exactly. All right. All right, it's warm where penguins live. Do we agree with that or disagree? We can say it. I won't say it. Like, say it so I can hear you. I mean, because I won't see the picture, so say it. Do you agree
Disagree.
or disagree? All right, and then you can mark it. Yeah. Sorry, I want my teacher. I don't want to have to say everything. I want you to talk some too. That's
I didn't do that one.
I know, but it's okay, but you're going to do this one now. So the last one is penguins live alone. Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree? All right. All right, and so now that we've done that, looking at your answers that you had before and now, do you think that your answers changed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's only one on that one and two on this.
But if you look, the one that you agreed with isn't even the same one that you agreed with this time. So I think your answers definitely changed. You definitely, learned some new things about some penguins. So
there's two check marks on agree on this one, but there's only one on this
right,
one.
and like I said, if you look across, see, it's not even the same one. You agreed here, but on this side you disagreed.
Oh.
Yeah, so see how like you disagreed, but then you agreed. So your thinking changed after we read this.
But these two, no.
Yep, those two you still disagreed with, which is okay, Your thinking didn't need to change completely. But now that we've read that story, that's what this is for, to show you how, it changed, how you learned some things.
Wait, when do I bring the work that I did here in Logan? When do we bring it back to our house?
Probably by the time we're done with all this, because I keep it all so I can look back at it and, yeah, it's good for me to be able to go and look back at it.
I did this twice, but Logan did it only once.
All right, so I'm just pulling out my questions. All right, so actually, I'm going to pause this because which I just paused it, because I couldn't remember what I was going to do. I'm going to give you time to go through this story by yourself, just to flip through the pages, relook at the pictures. But since you're just going to be flipping through the story, we're not going to be talking a lot. I'm going to pause this so we don't take up a lot of time. So that's what we're doing. We'll be back. Alrighty, so now you have had a chance to go over the book, and that was just, you reading it a little, which I know some of the words you didn't know, and just looking at the pictures, so gives you time, and you were able to just think about it more. So now that we have that done, I want to know, actually, just to start off, do you have any questions about the book and anything you've read?
I don't know if the penguin is a boy or girl.
Right, and I don't know either, but that's okay. The point of you asking questions isn't for me to answer the questions. It was just a question for you to have. Is there anything else you wondered?
But I think it's a girl.
It could be,
Or
I don't.
a boy.
Right. Well, yeah, it's either one of those. Those are the only two options it could be. But it's a good. It was. Like I said, it doesn't really tell us, but we did learn some stuff about penguins. So now so I can mark down. So now if we were in the classroom, you would be given like 10 minutes, like I just gave you, to look at that book. And then after, you would get more time to look at the book, and I would call people up one at a time to my desk, and we'd talk about it. And if you'd had other students in the class, you'd still get to look at the book, but then now I'm going to pretend, I called you up to my desk, excuse me, and we're going to talk about it. So I just have some questions from the book. I think I got about 6 of them. Yep. I have 6 questions for you, and we're going to see if you can answer them, and I'm going to just mark if whether or not, you got them right or wrong. So, and it's all right. This is just to check to see what we've learned about this book that we read. So, who stays with the egg before it hatches?
Papa.
Yep, the papa. Good job. All right. Make sure you're talking a little loud so we can make sure the teacher can hear your answers. So, because I can hear your answers and I can repeat them, but I want her to know that you're saying them. I'm sure she can see your lips moving, but it might be kind of quiet. All right. So, who stays with the egg before they hatches? All right. Then, what is the weather like where penguins live?
Mostly it is sunny. Mostly it's like nighttime.
Yeah. So, yeah, but okay, so you're right. Yes, that might actually be a question that I have later. So, it's not, but you're right. Okay, so like you said, it's not mostly sunny, it's mostly dark, but and it is, they have chunks of time where it's dark and chunks of time where it's light, but what's the weather like? Like, what's like, is it sun or not? Because we not about being daylight, but is it warm? Is it cold? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is it cold? And what else? What else was it going on? I know that I saw some things in here. If we look back at this book, I'll find the page. What do you think? What's going on in this picture?
Snow?
Yeah, snow.
Snow or rain?
It's snow. You're right. Yep. So yeah, it's really cold and it's really snowy where they are and really icy. So that's a good job. All right. So next question. How does the penguin carry the egg around? We've seen pictures. When it's just an egg, what does he do? How does he carry that egg?
Put it in its pouch.
Yeah, and it's but how is it? Does it rest? It's on the pouch, but he carries it on his. What do you walk on?
Feet.
Yeah. So it's in the pouch. You're right, but he carries it in his pouch and on with his feet. So good job. All right. So how do the penguins stay warm? Do we remember?
The baby penguin?
Well, just the adults. Remember how? Let's see if I can find the picture. Kind of like these pictures. What are they doing? How do the adult penguins stay warm? What are they doing in this picture? These pictures.
They get around in a circle.
Yeah, and what are they doing? Like, how are they standing really far apart?
They're standing like against each other.
Yeah, huddled is another word for that, which I know you might not know that word. So yeah, they're huddled together. So they get really, really close and like kind of cuddle up with each other so they can stay warm because It's really, really cold where they are. All right, so where does the papa penguin go when the mama comes back? Does he stay with the mama and the baby, or does he leave?
Leave?
Yeah, yep, he leaves. Yeah, kind of like how the mom was gone and took care, and the dad took care of the baby when it was an egg. Once the baby's hatched, the mama comes back, and then the dad leaves so he can go eat and stuff, and the mama takes care of the baby.
Wait.
It doesn't say that here, but it said it in this little beginning part. It said it here that the daddy leaves to go eat.
Why not can the baby eat?
And the baby does, but it's like when the mama, you know how like kittens, maybe that's, I don't actually know if that's true. You know, that's a good question. I might have to look that up after we get done with these questions. That's a good question that you had. How does a baby eat? So I might look that up for us before we finish because I actually don't know. I was going to try to explain it, but I don't think what I was going to say was right. And I don't want to tell you something wrong. So, okay. So, last question. How do the mama and papa penguins find each other when the mama comes back?
She shouts.
Yeah, she yells, or they kind of squawk because they're birds. But yeah, they make the yelling noise and they recognize each other's voices. They're one of those birds, like I was saying, you know, those birds, they stay together usually forever. They're birds that when a boy bird and a girl, when they find each other and decide, they call it mating, which is that's when like it's, you know, we call it dating, but you know, with animals, it's usually they call them mates. And so when they mate, you know, they usually mate for life, which means they usually stay together forever. And so good job. So actually, before I finish this up for today, I'm going to look that question up for us and see what I can find out because that's an interesting question. How do baby penguins eat? Hopefully it will register. It's just was being slow. Okay, so it's the same way as like birds. So they do eat. So the mama penguins do still eat when the dads leave. The dads just leave and go out to sea for a long time. So you know how like I don't know, just like birds and trees, like when a bird feeds their baby a worm, the bird will chew the worm up and then open its mouth and the baby eats the chewed up worm. Yeah, it's gross, but that's how.
Oh, it's off of Big City Green.
You know, but that's how.
Because Tilly found a nest and she ate a worm. She was pretending to like be the mom and she ate 5 chewed up worms.
Wow, you know, and that's I should have known that. I don't know. I just assumed that maybe it was a different way, but I did know that that's how birds ate, so I should have known the answer to that question. But yeah, so it's okay. We'll talk about it here in a minute. I know I know you're just talking about YouTube videos. I understand, but yeah,
it's not YouTube.
It's not YouTube. Anyway,
it's on Disney.
Oh, it's on Disney. Okay, but yeah, so you like you said you saw, yeah, that's how birds eat. That's how they feed their baby birds. You know, like kittens and like puppies, they drink milk from their moms. Animals who lay eggs don't produce milk like that. So they have to find other ways to feed their babies. So like birds, they chew up the worm, or in penguins' cases, it's usually fish. They'll chew up the fish and then they let the baby bird eat up the chewed up fish because the babies don't have strong enough teeth to chew it up themselves. Just like babies, human babies, you know, we give them baby food, which is like food that we don't chew it up with our mouths. We use like blenders and stuff to mash it up.
Or Silverware.
Yeah, but it's the same idea where they mash up that food really good because the babies don't have teeth or beak, you know, they just don't have the swallowing and eating capacity that they will when they get older. So I hope you learned some good stuff about penguins today. See, I think that was definitely interesting. I don't know if you probably never, you should watch the movie Happy Feet. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but that.
I have.
It's with penguins. Yeah, that kind of shows a lot of what we saw here. Well, and that's a silly, you know, and it shows because even in Happy Feet, when the mama penguins come back, they sing, and it explains it as singing. Here, in the book they called it yelling, but in that movie they call it singing. The penguins sing to each other to decide that they're going to be together and find each other. Well, alrighty, I want to thank you so much for help again today. You did a good job. I'm always glad that you can help me, and let's say goodbye to the teacher. Bye. Thank you.